Hi, welcome to another one of our out and about videos where we show you how we use bits of our camera gear and kit and take them out into a real world experience and show you what they can do. Today we're going to be looking at another new piece of kit that we got earlier this year. We bought it in May actually, and it is this, which is a stunningly small piece of equipment. But very capable, and it's the Insta360 ONEX2 camera. As the name implies, it's a 360 degree video camera. It takes stills photographs as well. We got it in May and we've taken it out and about a few times and used it and begun to realise what you can do with it and how to use it properly. And it does take a bit of getting used to be quite honest. There is a bit of a learning curve attached to it as well, especially when it comes to editing, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But it's really good, and it's again another piece of kit that we wanted to add into our collection, as it were, for doing what we do. We did have a GoPro a few years ago, and if you've had a look round on our YouTube channel, and if you haven't, please do so when you finish watching this. And we used to do a series of walks called the Wonder Years, where we took video clips of some of our favourite photo walks, edited them all together and did a little guide really, as people could follow and take photographs and do all sorts of things with it. We got without the GoPro, but we've recently wanted to get another video camera into the armoury, as it were. So we had a look and we came up with this as being the best option. One of the things we do like about it is that it's not only a really good video camera. It takes 5.7K video, but it's also got quite a really good stills capability on it as well. And one of the things you can do with that is really explore what you can do and do things and think about things in a different way as you would do with a conventional camera. One of the nice bits of extra kit that came with it is this, which is what Insta360, which is a company called the Invisible Selfie Stick. And obviously it's not invisible, it is there and it is very much real. But when you attach it into the bottom of the camera, again, Insta360 do a range of all sorts of cameras, from cheaper ones than this right up through to, you know, big multi-thousand-pound professional bits of kit. But once you put the selfie stick on the bottom of this, because of how the camera works, and obviously you've got the lens and one thing and another, from certain angles it actually disappears, so it looks like it's floating. And the image we've got on screen now is a selfie that we took on the day out we're going to feature today, which is when we took a trip on board one of the Mersey ferries. This one we're on here is called Snowdrop, and it's been painted in the dazzle design that was used in the First and Second World War to camouflage Royal Navy warships, where they actually use the yellows and blues and reds and whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but this is a quick example of the type of selfies you can take with it. So it's actually over the railings, look like somebody's stood in the hovering over the top of the Mersey, and that's myself and Viv. Viv's cousin Jan and her husband Nick, who joined us for the day. So those are the type of things you can do, type of shots, and again, you know, like I said, it's the sort of creativity and getting your mind working on some of these things to how you actually use it. Anyway, most people will use this though as a video camera. So what is it actually like? So this first clip we've got is of the ferry coming into dock at the Woodside terminal, which is the one primarily used for Birkenhead. The trip itself, you just can book a ticket via Mersey ferries. They do them during the summer. You set off from Pierhead, which is the main sort of ferry port, goes up and down the Mersey, takes about 50 minutes. It's a fantastic trip out. If you've never done it before, please do so, especially if you've got the weather like we did that day. Anyway, this video clip here is of the ferry coming into Woodside. As you can see, I've got the selfie stick out, or as you can't see, I've got the selfie stick out, and taking the video over there. Now, one of the great things about this camera is, and this is the bit that really takes a bit of thought process, is that you edit the video and you put your focal point in once you've shot the video. So you do it in the post-processing bit. So you're not actually moving the video around at all. You're not actually moving it or waving it around or doing anything. Well, you can do if you want to. But when you've got stuff like this, you're just literally choosing the point on the video in post-processing, and that does take a bit of time to get used to. But like I said, it is helpful once you get your head into that space and you begin to using it properly. The second video we've got is leaving Woodside, and the ship carries on sailing up the Mersey, or is it down the Mersey? Anyway, it's away from the sea, whichever way that is. I'm sure somebody that's a bit more nautically minded than I am can put me right on that. Anyway, so the ferry is moving away from Woodside, and we're heading towards Camberley. And as you can see, that pan there and the image is silky smooth. Now that is not me moving the camera again. That's actually being done in the editing on the desktop, where you're choosing the points where you want the camera to basically point at and focus on and shoot. So it's really silky smooth, very, very nice, very, very effective. And like I said, we're quite impressed with this, and it gives you a nice sort of sense of sailing along on the Mersey on a nice sunny Sunday afternoon. Notice I've got they've got the Fuji kit out as well, taking some photographs as well, which we'll put up again some other time. The third video we've got is on dry land. We've come off the Mersey and we've wanted to just take a walk around Pierhead, around the buildings. You've obviously got the Liver building, you've got the Museum of Liverpool, you've got all sorts of things there. You've got a lot of war memorials. There's a Commonwealth War Graves Memorial to seamen that were killed in the Second World War. And you've also got a lot of stuff going on as well on a sort of, you know, sunny Sunday afternoon like this. You've got all sorts of things going on down there, and buskers, and of course you're never far away from reminders about the Beatles and things like that in Liverpool. We're doing a little bit of something different with the camera, where we're going to put it into what they call tiny planet mode. Again, this is all done in the editing, and you've probably seen this several times beforehand, but we're just showing you some of the things that you can do. Speed the film up, and you can also put it on certain points where you lock the focus, and in editing the video automatically keeps on that point until you tell it otherwise and move it off. The editing, you probably need another video, and there's loads of great videos out there from people showing you what to do, and you know, like I said, if you've got this and you're not quite certain what you're doing, just go online and just have a look on YouTube. There's some really very, very clever people that have been using this stuff a lot longer than we have, and have, you know, can really make it really work very, very well indeed. So again, there's loads of things you can do. The last video we've got is one we've gone a little bit mad with it, really. I've sort of called it Inception, because at one stage it starts to sort of fold in on itself like the worlds do in the Christopher Nolan film. This just goes to show you what you can do with it. And again, it's like a lot of things, isn't it? When you first come on Photoshop, sometimes people do it and virtually ruin the photographs because they're doing that much to it. You're just sort of thinking, oh, hang on a minute, I may have stopped about 5 minutes ago. This is the type of thing, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of capability on there in the editing suite, and you can just really go overboard, and you suddenly sit back and you think, oh right, okay, well, that's not what I wanted to do, and then you've got to start all over again. So there's an awful lot of stuff that you can do with this. One of the big learning curves we've found is really, there's two, I think. One is if you come from a sort of traditional point and shoot, you know, mobile phone, you know, a non-360 action camera or something like that, you're used to having to move it around and one thing and another. You don't need to with this. If you're doing what we used to do, where you're walking, talking, giving a narrative as you're walking, and you see something interesting, you'll just pick it up on the editing and click, point, and that's it, the camera focuses on it. What this allows you to do is to keep things in one place but move it around. So in other words, the world's sort of moving around you as you keep this still, which is again something you've just got to get your head around. Editing is again that real steep learning curve. If you're getting used to actually using it is one thing, editing it is something else. There's two ways of doing it. There is a really good app that Insta360 have for phones and mobile devices, and there's loads of options on there. It links to your camera in Bluetooth. You do live edits and one thing or another, and there's all sorts of things you can do, fly-throughs and you name it, you can do it, and it's very, very comprehensive. We used it a couple of times just to pull photos or snatch little videos off the camera. The thing to remember is that you need quite a beefy phone to do it. We've had no problems so far with this. This is a Samsung A22 and it's stood up reasonably well. But again, it's like any computer, any electrical device, you know, it can only do up to a certain limit and then it struggles. Some of this stuff is quite high end. And also it could drain your battery quite a bit as well, because you're using Bluetooth, it's linked, it's going backwards and forwards, there's a lot going on. The battery on this, by the way, is really, really good. There is a long life in the battery on in the Insta360. So you can use that, or what we do is use the desktop application. You just download it from the Insta360 site. It's for Mac and it's also for Windows. So, you know, there's an option there. It is not as much on it as there is in the mobile phone, which is a bit of a shame, because there's some really cool stuff on the phone that we'd like to do on the desktop, but you can't. But it's perfectly adequate. All the 360 videos we've done that you've seen and whatever on this, we did that on the desktop. If you just want simple point, shoot, whatever it is, you can do all that. You can speed it up, you can do the Tiny Planet stuff and one thing or another. The big problem comes, and this is the problem I think we've had up to now, is when you've sat facing some raw video footage that you've shot, and it doesn't quite match up with what you remember shooting, and you've got to do a bit of hunting around on screen to get a reference point and then work out what you're going to do with it. Because quite simply, because it is the 360 degree video, and you know, it takes 360 degree photos as well, so if you save them to Google Photos or whatever it is, you download them, you can move your phone around, and it's almost like a little sort of augmented reality approach. But you've got no reference point as a starting point, so you've got to hunt around really, and then really get into the mindset of doing the editing in a very, very different way to what you'd normally be used to, you know, with a sort of a standard video clip. So that's the hard part, because you could probably edit a piece of video on this several hundred different ways and get several hundred different versions of it, and you know, you'd never quite match one to another, and there'd still be plenty of capability to do an awful lot more. So if you can get your head around that and get your head around that editing bit, and like I said, there's some really good videos out there that we've watched, we've got used to, we've tried to replicate it and one thing or another. There's a lot you can do with it. But I guess that's part of the fun really of this, isn't it? You know, if it's a hobby, you don't immediately pick something up and you're an expert at it. You've got to work at it. And sometimes I think the hobbies where you sometimes just got to work a little bit harder just to get used to something, and then you can really enjoy it. I think there's a little bit more to that than, like I said, just picking something up and being able to do it straight from the word go. So this is really good learning curve. We've had it 3 months or so now. We're sort of getting there to it and getting a little bit more used to it. We'll be taking it out to an awful lot more, and we're beginning to identify now about what works, what doesn't work. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of opportunities, loads of different ways you can use it, but most of all, obviously, you know, don't forget to have some fun with it as well. That's the main thing. So hopefully you found that of interest. It's a quick whistle-stop tour of the Insta360 ONEX2. There are other models that they make that are out on the market. This is the first one we've tried. It's the first 360 camera we've had. We love it so far. Really does what we want from it, and we're looking forward to extending our knowledge and capability of what we can do with it as well. So if you've enjoyed this video, please have a look around on our channel and find out some more, and look at some more. Look out for the Wonder Years videos as well, the old school photo walks we used to do from 2 or 3 years ago, and maybe take one and use one if you want. As ever, get in touch, let us know, drop us a comment, you know, make sure you like the video, and if you really want to, and no pressure, but if you really want to, then obviously subscribe to the channel for access to this and a whole lot more content as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and if you've got one, like I said, let us know what you get up to with it, and we'll see you again very soon.